Hi there guys, I hope you are having a good day. Now February 27th, that is when Joseph Parker will show down against Junior Farr, and that will be a great rivalry, and that has been spun as a great rivalry because they have fought 4 times previously in the amateurs and they are 2 wins apiece. So this fight will finally cap off that kind of exchange between the two of them. So this fight is building up and it was supposed to happen last year, but it's happening this year. So let's hope this time it does make it all the way to the end, because this is going to be a very interesting fight. Not just because we don't know how good Junior Farr is, but do we still know how far Joseph Parker can go? Because I don't really think we've seen a 10 out of 10 performance from Joseph Parker. I think that he has much more to give. And consider this, he was young when he was a world champion. He was world champion at what, 24, maybe 25, maybe 24, but ultimately considering he was that young, and that is young in the general sense of the word, not considering he's a heavyweight. Heavyweights often peak around 28 to 30 because obviously they're a lot bigger, so it takes them a lot more time to develop. Considering that, Joe Parker was a young world champion and he's around 28 or 29 now. And what that could mean is that the best is still to come from Joseph Parker, so no pressure going in there with Junior Farr. Now, does this guy represent any challenge or any kind of worries for Joe Parker? Well, Joe Parker is going to need to be on his A game if he's going to beat him, but I don't think that this guy should be beating Joe Parker because I think that Junior Farr is a good fighter, but he's not got that X factor to him. He doesn't do anything extremely well that would make you believe he's going to trouble Joe Parker in this kind of aspect. So considering that, let's be real, this is a fight that Joe Parker should be winning. Now, of course, I'm not saying that this is a fight where he can just walk through Junior Farr. It's a fight that he should be winning and therefore he's going to get the stoppage in rounds 3, 4, maybe 5. He could well do that, but consider that Junior Farr has never really faced anyone that makes you believe he's of the level of Joseph Parker, considering Parker has been a world champion. He's been in multiple world title fights. So if you see the level between them, then Farr has a lot of work to do to be considered of that level when he fights Parker. Now, I think that the better Junior Farr we get, the better Joseph Parker we will get, because I think that Joe Parker does raise his game, or lower his game, to his opponent. He has been guilty of doing that during his career, so when he's in there with, say, a lower level opposition, he often, struggles to get going, struggles to get the knockout, or to step on the pace. But then, when he steps up to a Dillian Whyte, Anthony Joshua, he does give a good account of himself, but there are still things missing from his game. Lack of aggression, I would say, in the AJ fight, and probably in the Dillian Whyte fight as well. He could have gone after that fight a little bit earlier, then maybe he would have stopped Dillian Whyte in that 12th round. So you can look back and say he should have done this, he should have done that, but then again he was in there with a very tough and very skillful opposition in Dillian Whyte, someone who will just keep coming and has the heart to continue. So that made it very difficult for Parker because he had never really been in a fight like that before, a proper dogfight where Dillian Whyte wanted to drag him into deep waters, and realistically, Parker didn't know what to do when he'd done that. So, inexperience, I guess, from that aspect. He'd never faced anyone who was willing to go to the trenches with him. Andy Ruiz maybe, but it was a different kind of fight compared to the one Dillian Whyte was imposing on that night, because I think that Andy Ruiz wanted to fight on the inside and make it rough and make it difficult, uncomfortable. But what Dillian Whyte almost wanted to do was make it like a street fight because he was pulling him around, he was leaning on him, he hit him with a headbutt even though I don't think he meant to, but still, that is the kind of fight that Dillian Whyte was pushing when he fought Joe Parker. Parker wasn't ready for that. Now, I don't expect that kind of fight in there with Farr, but I think that Joe Parker is better in every single aspect than Junior Farr. The problem is, can Joe Parker go beyond that level, or does he settle around at Junior Farr's level? Because he is a big guy, he's a big lump, but he's fast and he's got some good power as well. He's got brilliant movement, good positioning, so he's got everything that he can put together into a good performance. And I don't think that Junior Farr is necessarily the stronger guy. I mean, I saw him in there with Dominic Guinn, and he got knocked down. He was getting pulled around, and that guy was a lot smaller than him, but he was still probably having the better in the clinches. Although Junior Farr was smothering the other guy's work, it was still like the other guy was imposing his size, his strength, on him. Yet Junior Farr was the bigger man. So I think that he's not necessarily that strong, so I think that Parker will have the benefit of being the stronger guy in the hold. because Joe Parker is solid and very strong, whereas Junior Fa is a little bit more fleshy. Now, I'm not just going to talk about what Junior Fa is not good at and what he doesn't do well. He does have a good jab, and he is consistent with it. But the problem is with that jab is he doesn't step in behind it. He doesn't use it to set anything up. He kind of just jabs and flicks it. He does vary it, but he doesn't really kind of build on it. And that is something that Joseph Parker needs to make sure he exploits, because if it's a battle of the jabs, like it was, let's say, with Anthony Joshua, Parker was out of range the entire night. What he had planned to do was use a double jab and come around to the side and exploit angles against Anthony Joshua, because there were physical advantages that he had to overcome. He never did that. Anthony Joshua's jab was too fast, he was too fast on his feet, and had too good a positioning for Parker that night. Now, the worry is, can Junior Fa do that same thing, considering he's taller and has a slight reach advantage? Because the last thing we want in a fight like this is a chess match, a battle of the jabs. We're expecting more than that, and I think that if Junior Fa does try and keep him behind a jab and box at range, then Parker needs to get creative. He needs to get beyond that jab, come around to the side, use angles, double up his jab and follow up as well. Get on the inside, rough him up, because I think that there are certain vulnerabilities to Junior Fa. In that Dominic Gwynn fight as well, he was knocked down and he went down heavy. So I think that this could be a fight where Parker could step on the gas and get the knockout. Having said that, in that fight, yes, he was knocked down, but he got up and got the victory. Now that guy is nowhere near the level of a Joe Parker, so you would expect if Parker gets far in trouble, he should finish and close the show. That's going to be more difficult and easier said than done, but still, that is what should happen if he does get him hurt, because he would never have been in that position before, in there with a fighter of Joseph Parker's level. Parker has. That is the difference, and Parker does need to make that show in this fight. The underdog is always dangerous. That's one thing we have been reminded about continuously, especially throughout the past 6 months in boxing. You can never underestimate the opponent, especially someone who's got a winning record and someone who doesn't know how to lose like Junior Fa. We do know that he is an adequate fighter because he has 2 wins over Joe Parker in the amateurs, but Parker also has 2 wins. This one will finally put the dispute to bed. I think that Parker is definitely the higher level opposition. I think that he should be winning this fight, but then again, as I said, we can never underestimate someone like Fa because he has a winning record and he does have a good jab and he always manages to survive when he has been hurt. I think that he's a bit careless at times, but that could make for a very entertaining fight. Another thing is Junior Fa is supremely confident going into this fight, something that maybe doesn't mean too much when that first bell rings and Joseph Parker steps around him, lands a few double jabs and lands a right hand, and Junior Fa doesn't know what to do from then on, or his confidence is diminished after that point. But still, confidence like that going into a fight like this is very important, and Fa is untested, unbeaten yes, but untested and unpredictable. That could be important in this kind of fight. Guys, anyway, what are your thoughts on this? Who do you have winning this fight? I think that objectively, I'm not really biased towards either of them. I would say that Joe Parker gets the victory inside 8 rounds. I think that it's very important that he does step on the gas and go for that knockout, make a bigger statement in an all New Zealand showdown. Guys, anyway, make sure you leave your thoughts in the comments below, leave a thumbs up and subscribe if you are new. Thanks guys.